Hello everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we are back again, and we're now going to talk about The Mandalorian, and this will be a review for the Season 2 premiere called The Marshal. There may be spoilers in this review, so I'll warn you now, if you haven't yet seen the episode, I'd advise you to stop watching now, go away, watch the episode, and then catch up with this review. And just quickly, just to recap overall on Season 1, I thought Season 1 was solid overall. It was very easy, very approachable to watch. It wasn't very ambitious really in terms of its storytelling. Most of the structure of the episodes were pretty much standalone. It was essentially Mando goes to a planet with Baby Yoda, gets sent on a mission or has to capture something or rescue somebody in order for money or weaponry. Baby Yoda gets into some sort of trouble, Mando saves him, achieves his mission or task, and then moves on to the next planet. Now I think in terms of the first season that's fine, but overall for this second season I'm looking for a lot more in terms of the storytelling. I'm really hoping that we can get a much more of a expansive narrative where we tap a lot more into the Star Wars lore and mythology. But overall Season 1 was very solid and watchable. So we go into the Season 2 premiere now, and I know there was a lot of hype about this season. What surprises would they give us? Would we get a lot more characters from the expanded universe? When will we get any hints about Ahsoka, for example? I know that's a very big highlight that a lot of fans are looking forward to. So in terms of this episode itself, overall I think it was a good episode. It was a good action-packed, exciting episode. I thought the visual effects and audio were on point. The musical score and the cinematography were all excellent. You'd expect that from a production of this type. As I've mentioned multiple times, The Mandalorian is amongst the most expensive television shows out there, so you would always expect a high level of special effects and action and musical score out there, and all of those are on point throughout the episode. We really pick up where it's at the beginning. Mando with Baby Yoda, they go to a boxing ring or a fighting ring, and Mando is looking for some information. He gets ambushed and he fights his way through, and he moves on with Baby Yoda onto the next stage of their journey. And I thought this was a very good fight scene. It's always good, I think, to start off your premiere episode with a good action set piece, and I liked this. I liked the choreography and the quick way that Mando was taking out all the other soldiers around him, so I thought that was very good. So we carry on again, and we see now that Mando has arrived on Tatooine, and he's looking for another Mandalorian, and here is where we see the introduction of the Marshal character, played very well by Timothy Oliphant. This is basically another Mandalorian, and he asks him where has he been, what's his origin, and of course Mando eventually wants to take the armor, so the Marshal refuses to take that. So we get a very tense face-off where it seems that we're going to get a shootout between the two, and then we get the further development where we hear noises outside, and that's when we're introduced to the massive creature that is terrorizing the town, very much similar to what you would see with Tremors. If you remember the Tremors movie from 1990 starring Kevin Bacon and Burt Ward, that's what this creature reminded me of. As well, if you remember the sand creatures as well from the recent Dune trailer. But essentially this is a creature that is traveling through the ground, big huge hulking monster, and it's terrorizing all of the other creatures within the town. Marshal explains to Mando that he's essentially protecting the town, and we get a very good backstory scene where we show that in the beginning the town was in celebration because they've recently seen the explosion of the second Death Star, obviously from Return of the Jedi, if you know your Star Wars mythology. And before they can celebrate, a group of soldiers come in and take over their town, and the Marshal was captured when he managed to break free, and he was carrying some weaponry and materials around him. So when he was captured by the Sand People, he managed to trade in whatever he had for a Mandalorian armor, and we see that in the ship that he's captured in on here. Now I assume that this is the Boba Fett armor. Again, anybody who knows more about the mythology or the lore, or is more informed about where they're heading with this season, by all means correct me if I'm wrong within the comments, but I do believe that that is the Boba Fett's armor. If you remember, going back now to Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett was consumed in the Sarlacc pit in that earlier sequence that we had when Luke was rescuing Han from Jabba the Hutt. So it did very much look like the Boba Fett armor, and that's what the Marshal has been using to help him protect the townspeople. So he makes an offer with Mando. If Mando can help him destroy this creature, then he'll give him back the Mandalorian armor. So they go on now, they're tracking the monster to see where its origin is, and Mando quickly decides that they cannot take the monster out on their own, they need help. And this is when they come across the Sand People on here, and we see Mando, he's able to translate and communicate with the Sand People. It turns out that they also want to destroy the sand creature, so everybody works together, and Mando ultimately decides that they need further help from the townspeople. So the townspeople and the Sand People work together. There's an initial fraction between the two because the Sand People have this very ruthless and dangerous reputation. Some of the townspeople are unsure whether they can trust them, but overall both come to a realization that it's in their best interest to capture this sand creature and destroy it. And these are very good scenes where we see the townspeople joining together with the Sand People. Again, the cinematography and the visual shots that we had of all the desert as we see the Sand People come into the town was all great. It all looked visually fantastic, and again, this is what you would expect to see on here. And we really had a very good action set piece as all groups of people went about their business to set about capturing the creature. I love that action sequence where they track the creature to the cave. The initial plan is to lure it out long enough so they can lay out explosives and blow it up to smithereens, and they have to try and pull it out, and it emerges from the scene, and we get good amounts of tension and suspense on here as it comes out, and they're trying to pull it out and they're shooting at it, and then it unleashes quite a gruesome piece of slime, I guess, from its mouth, and it's quite acidic as it's burning through the people that are trying to drag it out. And so Mando and the Marshal, they get on their jetpacks and they go on the cliff and they try and attack the sand creature from high up. And I liked these scenes. Again, I love the visual effects. You can clearly see that they went all out in the premiere to make sure that the action and the visual effects were really of a high standard, and it all looks cinematic, it all looks movie standard. I love these scenes when they're flying around trying to shoot it from a different angle, and they come back and they realize they can't do it, and it ends up being quite a tough struggle. But then overall the monster goes to attack Mando, and Mando has extra explosives. And I love that scene as well when we assume Mando, or the people assume that Mando has been consumed by the monster, but then he manages to emerge outside of it. He flies out, that great angle shot that we see, and then we see that the creature is exploded from the explosive devices, and therefore they then defeat the creature. And the Marshal keeps to his word. He gives Mando back the armor, and then the Mando goes away with Baby Yoda onto newer adventures. So overall, it was a very good, solid piece of entertainment. It does flag up the same issues that I had with the first season, that it's very much of a standalone basic narrative. As I explained before, Mando has a mission, he goes to achieve it, he saves the day, and then moves on to the next planet. So I'm hoping that this isn't familiar territory that we get throughout the whole season. I don't mind if it's for the premiere episode, as a way to ease new viewers into it. You know, you have a standalone story so everybody can join in and get a foot in on a story before we expand, hopefully much more into a much more deeper and serialized story. So that's what I'm hoping for. We will of course see later on throughout the show the emergence of both Gina Carano and Carl Weathers. They will return later on, and hopefully we will get more backstory into the Mandalorian and get much more about Baby Yoda and what he means, and more people that are after him. So that's what I'm hoping for later on in the season. But in terms of this opening episode, I don't really think you can have too many complaints. It wasn't exceptional, it wasn't groundbreaking, but I think it was just a good, solid, very appealing episode, a very easy to get into opener for the series, and I don't think you can really mark it down too much for that. The visuals, the score, the action set pieces were all of a high standard. So yeah, I think overall I was very pleased with this opening season. I just hope that we get a much more meaningful and substantial storyline as the overall season unfolds in the future. So those are my thoughts on the opening premiere of The Mandalorian. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you enjoy it? Did you think it should have done a bit more? It ran out, I think, a runtime of around 52 minutes, which is longer than most of the season episodes from the previous season, which I think were around 35 to 40 minutes. So I don't think this is going to be the typical length for all episodes. I could be wrong, but I assume again most episodes will be around 35 to 40 minutes. So did you think it dragged on a bit? It did seem to lag at times. I think maybe 5 or 10 minutes could have been cut out. It would have made the episode feel a lot more quicker and a lot more pacier, perhaps. Did you feel that there was enough in this episode to get you excited for season 2, or would you have liked a bit more references to the Star Wars mythology? What did you think about the Boba Fett costume? Do you think it is? Would you like a lot more reference to the Boba Fett costume and his backstory and where he come from, or are you not fussed really about Boba Fett and you'd rather see new characters? And of course, we're all anticipating that first appearance of Ahsoka. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But overall, that's my review on a very good opening premiere episode for the season 2 of The Mandalorian. That's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.